Well, there's been a major development in the trial of South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh. A judge deciding jurors can hear evidence that prosecutors say proves that Murdaugh stole money from his law firm and clients long before his wife and son were killed. Prosecutors have emphasized those alleged financial crimes are key in establishing Murdaugh's motive. They argue he killed his wife and son in an attempt to get sympathy and buy more time after being confronted with evidence of his fraud. The defense saying prosecutors are trying to smear Murdaugh with details of his finances because they have no evidence definitively tying him to the murders. And for more on this, I'm joined right now by criminal defense attorney Tamara Holder here in studio. Thanks for being with us. How crucial is it to reveal these financial crimes in light of this horrific double murder?
It's really crucial because because there are multiple financial crimes here, or alleged, of course, but they wouldn't have necessarily been admissible at trial. This is a double murder trial. This isn't a trial into his other crimes. And so they would have essentially been kept out, not relevant to the murder case. They're completely separate. But what happened was the defense attorneys put on a friend to say, is there any reason why this man would have killed his family? And at that point, they opened the door for motive.
And the only reason why this is being revealed is because they're trying to find a reason why someone would be desperate enough to kill his wife and son at point-blank range, essentially, in such a horrible way. In terms of the prosecution, I mean, clearly that's their case, but how would the defense work around this?
I think the defense would say he's not a really good guy financially. He had problems. He had one of the things that they had said is that he had addiction issues. His addiction was fueled by his financial crimes and vice versa.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that necessarily means that he's a bad guy. He wouldn't kill his family. He loved his family.
Yeah, well, they're saying that doesn't prove he's a murderer.
Right.
But obviously, this is going to draw a lot of attention. In terms of their focus, since prosecution is looking at these financial crimes, where does the defense go in terms of protecting their client?
Well, they don't have a murder weapon. They can just say that they keep bringing people on to say that he's a good guy. Other than the financial crimes, they have no real evidence to show that he was there. There are a few things.
Yeah, what about the tarp and the raincoat with the gunpowder on it?
And also, well, there's some circumstantial evidence because remember, he was also at his mother's house and spoke to the housekeeper and said, don't you know I was here for 45 minutes when he was really only there for 15 or 20 minutes, trying to put him at the scene, or not at the scene of the crime, but at his mother's house. So there are a lot of pieces here, but the problem is that we don't have a murder weapon. We have a lot of low-hanging fruit. But, there are people that think that he's not guilty, that just because he's a bad guy who stole money doesn't mean that he killed his family.
And not like this.
Right.
We are expected to hear testimony as well for some pretty important people, including the guy who was a client of his, who he ended up allegedly hiring to be his hitman.
Right. And this guy apparently faked shooting him or shot him on the side of the head. There are a lot of weird things that nobody really understands what happened, because remember, he went in for his bond hearing and he didn't have, sutures or anything on his head, even though he allegedly got shot in the head. So it's really bizarre. I also wonder the involvement of the hospital here, because he just ended up getting a helicopter out, to save his life. There's just, I don't know. It's so weird.
But he's so prominent and so, again, well-liked. This family was beloved by a number of people in town.
Right.
And at the same time, there's a lot of mystery. I know Murdaugh's older brother, Randy, is also going to be testifying. Do we know anything about that at all?
I don't know. I mean, I think that all that the defense is trying to do is set up the fact that he's a good guy, to convince the jury that although the financial crimes are now admissible, he's not violent. He loves his family. He's charitable. He's a respected attorney. He's all of these wonderful things. He would never do anything like this. Remember, you have to prove a crime beyond a reasonable doubt. That is a very, very high threshold that the state has to prove that he's guilty.
Even though he's surrounded by a lot of drama. There's no question of that. Tamara Holder, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.